So, hello YouTube, and welcome to the inaugural video of Not Your Mother's Kitchen. I'm Monty. Today we're going to cook some pasta over here, and it's going to be a real simple recipe. It's stuff that you can use out of your pantry during these times of lockdown, and we all know how hard it is to make a meal go. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is we're going to need an onion, a medium-sized onion. We're going to turn the heat onto our pan here. And we're going to put a little olive oil in here. We want a quarter cup of olive oil in the pan, and we're going to let it heat up. And we're going to let that heat up while we cut up our onion. First thing we're going to do is we're going to cut the end off the onion, come on to the top side, peel her down, and cut it in half. We'll peel off the old skins. This is a recipe that my family really likes. It's easy. You come home from work, you can get this thing started, then go in once it's started, change your clothes, grab you a bottle of wine, crack it open, and you guys will really enjoy this. So we're going to slice the onion. You don't need a real fine dice, but you don't want a real big one either. This is really a good meal. And you can feed a lot of people on this. You're going to be using a pound of pasta. We've got a 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes, 5 cloves of garlic, and you can put anything in here that you'd like. We're going to put some Italian seasoning in there, kind of give it that Italian flair. Once you have this all diced up, remove the piece of skin I've got in there. We're going to go ahead and we're going to put this into the skillet. To this, we want to add a pinch of salt. Helps bring out the moisture in the onions, helps them cook a little better. We're also going to stir it around, and we want to let these simmer for about 10 minutes. While that's going on, we're going to turn the heat up on our water here. We're going to get it back to boiling. And we're going to let those simmer. In the meantime, we're going to get our garlic ready. I've already got 4 cloves of garlic right here. We're going to go ahead with our 5th clove. How you crush these, put your knife over it, crush it with your hand right there. The skins just come right off, makes it really easy peasy. Then we will dice. And we want these kind of a fine dice. We don't want them super fine, but we want them a lot smaller than what we've got right here. Make sure you get all the skins out. Those don't digest real well. We'll put these in with the rest of our garlic. And these will be ready. Let's check on our onions real quick. They're starting to get a little translucent. We're going to keep them going. It seems like an awful lot of olive oil, but you really need that much when you're cooking this. We've got the fire turned up, getting our pot. While that pot's coming up to a boil, we want to add a little salt. You want to make sure you salt your water so that it tastes like seawater. So about a tablespoon, maybe a little more, depending on what you like. These onions are coming along. One of the things we're using is a 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes. Use whatever brand you like. These, when I went to the store, they were on sale, so that's why I've got these, no particular reason. We'll get this can open and ready to go when the onions are ready. These are fire roasted. I've used fire roasted tomatoes before. It really brings out a good smoky flavor to the pasta. Just kind of kicks it up a notch. You don't have to use these. If you don't like 5 cloves of garlic, you don't have to use 5 cloves of garlic. You can just use 2. You can use 1. If you don't like garlic, don't use it at all. So let me clean up while those onions are cooking. Give my hands a quick wash. We'll come back over here, check our onions. These are about ready. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put in our 5 cloves of garlic. We want those to simmer for about 2 minutes. You can tell when these are ready to go, when the garlic's cooked, is when it starts smelling fragrant. So we're going to give this a minute. And I'm starting to smell that, so what we're going to add is some Italian seasoning into the mix. You can add as much or as little of this as you want. I'm adding about a tablespoon. Maybe a little more. And we kind of stir that around. That comes fragrant really quick. We're going to let that cook for a minute. In the meantime, we're going to get our pasta opened up. Not that we're ready for it right away, but we want to be ready when we are. We'll take our 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes. It's been about 10 minutes. We're going to go ahead and dump it in. I'm going to stir this around. Now, one of the things that I like to do with this is I like to add a little wine. So I use a Chianti with this. Maybe about a 1/4 cup, maybe not quite. This just gives it a richness and brings out the flavors out of the tomatoes. The alcohol will cook off, so if anybody's got a problem with alcohol that you don't want to drink it or don't want to eat with it, you don't have to put it in. But we're going to mix this up, and we're going to let this come to a simmer. And once it comes to a simmer, we'll put the lid on. We'll crack the lid, put a wooden spoon underneath of it so steam gets out. We're going to let it set, and we're going to let it simmer down until it gets pretty thick, because what we'll do afterwards is once the pasta's cooked, we'll take some pasta water in there, thin it out to the thinness that we want, and then we'll toss our pasta in it. So while that's happening, it's always good just to try a little of the wine that you like to drink. And I like Chianti a lot. I also like Merlot is good in that. A Cab is a little too strong for it, I think. So. All right, so the pasta sauce is pretty close to being ready. I mean, we got a few more minutes, but as you can see, it's getting some thickness to it. And you want to continuously scrape the bottom, not continuously, but every couple of minutes come over and give it a turn. Make sure nothing sticks to the bottom. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take the lid off, leave the lid off now so it evaporates a little quicker. And we're going to go ahead and add our pasta to the water. We're gonna give that a test, stir, make sure nothing sticks together or clumps together. I know a lot of people add oil to their pasta while it's cooking. I do not add anything to my pasta water when it's cooking. I find that the pasta sauce doesn't stick as well as what it could. So we're going to let that cook now, and we'll be right back. All right, so our pasta and pasta sauce. Our pasta sauce has been cooking for 20 minutes, and our pasta's been cooking for 10, and it's ready to go right now. And you can see how much this sauce is reduced. That's kind of the way you want it. Some might want it a little thinner than that. Some might want it a little thicker than that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a little bit, because I want it just a little thinner. We're going to add just a little bit of pasta water in here. Now that pasta water's got salt in it, so it's going to help season this also. We're going to thin it out a little bit. When we get it to the consistency we want, we're going to dip in here. Turn our fire off and put our pasta in. Okay. Now I like to toss these around with some tongs. Just seems to be a little easier. If you're good, you can flip your pan around and flip it and turn it that way, but I always tend to make a really bad mess when I do stuff like that. Now that's ready. So the last thing we're going to do is I have some pecorino cheese, and we're going to put some pecorino on here. I like pecorino better than Parmesan, and I like to use these box graters. The holes are a little bigger than a microplane, So we're going to go ahead add the pecorino. We're going to give this a toss again. And then the last thing I like to do is we're going to finish this with a little butter. We're going to finish this with a little butter. It kind of gives it a richness, fat's flavor. Fat moves the flavors of the tomato and the wine and the seasonings to your taste buds. And now, hold on, I'm ill prepared, but we are going to plate. And this is the way I like to plate it. So we come in, grab a serving. We're going to go ahead and we're going to roll it up like this. We're going to put it on the plate. We're going to get us a paper towel. We're going to clean this up a little bit. We're going to top it off with just a little bit more pecorino. And then we're going to taste. All right, as you can see, we finished up our pasta. This is a red sauce, pan red sauce. It's easy to do. The whole thing took us probably, if we weren't filming, about 30-35 minutes to complete. So it's a very quick and easy meal to go. If you don't like chopping onions, you can go to the grocery store. You can buy them pre-chopped. That cuts down a lot of time. Just come on, throw your pan on the stove, get it heated up, add a 1/4 cup olive oil, throw your onions in. While those things are going on a medium to medium high heat, then you can go, get home and change your clothes and get ready to finish up the meal. Well, I like to serve this with a little Chianti Classico. It's the same wine that we used in the red sauce. It's a good table wine. I consider it a table wine, but it's really a very popular wine in Italy, and that's what I like to drink with it. So let's give this a taste. And I'm gonna burn my face. That's good. Pasta's al dente. It's not mushy. You don't want mushy pasta. That's the only way I ate it growing up. But you want just a little bit of chew in it. You can taste the roasted red peppers coming out in this. You can taste the pecorino cheese gives it a sharpness, and the butter gives it a richness. Very good. Feed a lot of people on this. As you could see when we made it, made a whole pan full of it. And you get a good loaf of bread, slice it up, a little garlic butter on there, throw it in the oven for a few minutes, let it toast up, and you got a good meal. Thanks for joining us tonight. Remember, hit that subscribe button and smash that bell. And give us a thumbs up if you like it. If you didn't like it, give us a thumbs down. Leave a comment down below. Hey, take care. We love you. Have a good one.